Listen, the Oromo and the Amhara, you're going to see that in America. You're going to see that in America. The Oromo and the Amhara, you're going to see that in America. You're going to see the Atlanteans, right? Who are going to be like the Oromo. They're going to look down on Northerners, like Detroiters, um, Chicagoans. They're going to look down on them. They're doing that already. Um, and hear me out for a second, right? This is going to happen after Europeans leave this soil. The whole kumbaya you see right now, people are going to divvy up. They're going to be like, the South is for Africans and the North is for immigrants. That's how they're going to do it. And I think they're going to do that because we saw what happened with the Oromo and the Amhara. The Oromo were saying that they were the true people of that land. The Amhara were like, we don't care. This is our land now. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have that going on in America. And a lot of people aren't ready for it. A lot of people aren't ready for it. So we're going to see how this is going to take place. And BRICS is here. You know what I mean? You see how East Indians are here, and you see how Chinese are here. You see how a lot of Africans are in Houston. You know, that's BRICS. BRICS is forming their own system of monetization right now. I don't want to say they're forming their own dollar because I haven't seen it, but they're forming their own monetization where people come here, they work, and they send money back to wherever they're from. Me personally, I send money back to Africa. I'm looking for partners in Burkina Faso right now who will work with me so I can send money back there to help the children. Because I'm doing that right now in places like in East Africa, right? So I would love to help places like Burkina Faso. I would love to help places like Bengal Island if I could. That's the top place I want to help, Bengal Island, bro. Like, if I can make connections over there with the people, man, it'll be so great. Like, I feel like that'll be great if I can make connections with some of the ancients. The ancients over there. That would be great. Um, so yeah, like, I think it's gonna come a day where people are like, you know what? What are you doing on this land? You don't look like us. That's gonna come a day where that happens. And I think again, the South is gonna be for Africans and the North is gonna be for immigrants. And I think ultimately, after that dies down, I think the North is gonna lose. It's gonna be another. It's gonna be another civil war after the Europeans leave. You know. Um, So be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. Like, it's going to happen. There's no way of getting around it. Like, you know, that's my prediction. I know a lot of people think like that too. Like, they see it happening. They see it. They just not saying anything about it. But I think most people see that kind of happening. I don't think Americans are so loyal to one another where they don't see themselves fighting each other in the future over soil. I don't see that happening. I think Americans are the most unloyal to each other. They're not loyal to each other at all. Um, they're not loyal. I think when you have crime in a community, that's just a pixelate of what's really happening in the community. When you have so much crime, because it isn't immigrants committing the crime. You know what I mean? It's people who came here and mixed with the blacks where that crime, where they forgot about customs and, customary law, where they forgot about those things and they start sagging their pants and doing all of that. Those are the people that's committing the crime. It isn't people who look African that's committing the crime. You know what I mean? So the South Corridor, like, South Carolina, Gullah Geechee, they have customary law. Those aren't the people committing the crime. Like, there's a thing in Chicago where people say, like, oh, this person Geechee. You know what I'm saying? Like, they call him a Geechee. I didn't know about that, like, because, like, I'm so tuned out of what's happening in Chicago, I don't want to know. Um, but when I found out they was making that a derogatory word, I was like, wow. They have no respect for the people who came here before them. They have no respect for them. Because Gullah Geechee, that culture, that's the epitome of Southern culture, Gullah Geechee culture. The food, the language, all of that, all of that. So, um, I want to see how this plays out, though. I want to see how this plays out. But mark my words, the South is going to be like the Oromo, and the North is going to be like the Amhara, and they're going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting. So I think most people kind of see the respect and returning land that doesn't belong to them to people who, because that's what it's going to be over. It's going to be over who got land patents, because, people don't know how to. Once white people step aside, right, and it's just blacks orchestrating everything, that's when all the blood is really going to shed. Because it's going to be like, it's going to be like every man for themselves. It's going to be like that. And I see that happening. And white people, Europeans, they don't really have a long time here. Because they can't produce a GDP when the BRICS nations just study telling them we're not going to accept the dollar. We don't want your money. So when you have stuff like that happening, and they're countering the fact that the U.S. dollar has power, that time here is limited. It's limited. So, all I would say is make relationships overseas. Don't get caught up in this I'm the original American talk. Don't get caught up in none of that. Like, make relationships in Africa. You know what I mean? Make relationships in India. That's going to be the call for what we're calling the ultimate risk that's about to happen. That's going to be the call for it. Great peace, Yakoki.